it's not just the money that they directly take from fossil fuel companies. The Democratic Party's sugar daddy and sugar mama is Wall Street. And Wall Street is heavily invested in all of this. You want to know how we know this? Colin, let's play up the Rashida Tlaib clip. Rashida Tlaib, I think she's on the Financial Services Committee. And she just had Jamie Dimon, the head of JP Morgan Chase, who should have been thrown in jail for his fraud in tanking the global economy, along with Bank of America, Wells Fargo, et cetera, et cetera. She had Jamie Dimon and a bunch of other financial executives, and she asked a basic yes or no question. Are you willing immediately to shift away from fossil fuel investments to renewables? Let's take a look.
You have all committed, as you all know, to transition the emissions from lending and investment activities to align with pathways to net zero in 2050. Do you know what the International Energy Agency has said is required to meet our global 2050 net zero targets of limiting global temperature rise to 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit or 1.5 degrees Celsius? So no new fossil fuel production starting today. That's like zero. So I would like to ask all of you and go down the list, because again, you all have agreed to doing this. Please answer with a simple yes or no. Does your bank have a policy against funding new oil and gas products? Mr. Dimon.
Absolutely not, and that would be the road to hell for America.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Sir, you know what? Everybody that got relief from student loans has a bank account with your bank should probably take out their account and close their account. The fact that you're not even there to help relieve many of the folks that are in debt, extreme debt because of student loan debt, and you're out there criticizing it.
The rest of these financial CEOs at banks gave ham-handed answers for, well, we are investing in renewables, but we haven't completely moved away from fossil fuels. So it's not just the fossil fuel companies that have bought off Chuck Schumer, Joe Manchin, Biden. Wall Street is the biggest investor in all these fossil fuel projects. When I was at Dakota Access Pipeline, every bank in America was pouring money into that. So it's absolutely obscene. On the bright side, it's not going to go through. But listen, Biden and Schumer promised Manchin that for your vote, we'll ram Mountain Valley Pipeline. So maybe it's not going to go through this permit reform bill. What makes you think they're not going to do some other backroom deal to ram this through, to approve permits that have been denied? And it's not just about one pipeline. Trying. It's not just about one pipeline.
No,
it's
not.
about this is the major corruption of the Democratic Party. Yep. Hey, fight Republican fascism. Hey, Republicans don't believe in climate change. Well, by doing this, you don't believe in climate change either. Maybe in theory you do, but you're not taking any actions to stop the pour out the flames.
Just at the DNC meeting a couple weeks ago, the two things they were not going to vote on them. We talked to James Zogby about this. They refused to vote on making dark money illegal in the primary system for the Democratic Party, and they refused to talk about the Mountain Valley Pipeline. Like, nobody would just even bring it up for vote. That tells you everything you need to know as far as where they're headed with that. And I would add that Chase Bank is the biggest funder of fossil fuel projects. That is absolutely the case. I talked to Peter Kalmus, who is a big climate change scientist that works at JPL. He and some coworkers chained themselves to the front of the Chase Bank here in downtown Los Angeles to protest their funding of fossil fuel, issues. And it brought out literally half of the LAPD. I've never seen such a big turnout of LAPD cops. Not
Do
even
we have
for
that clip?
Yeah, so, all across the world actually right now, in 26 countries, scientists have come out to stand against the climate crisis. With the IPCC report coming out this week, it connects the dots between the scientific community and the dire catastrophic situation that we're in with the climate right now. And so they're coming out in force all over the world to demonstrate to us what's going on, why it's so important, what the critical nature of this crisis really is, and take a sacrifice, make a difference. And so they came out, they chained to these doors. This is Chase Bank.
Yeah, why Chase Bank of all
Chase
banks?
Bank is the #1 funder of fossil fuel infrastructure and extraction on the planet. So we want to make sure that we point the light onto Chase and show them for who they are. They just don't seem to get that their money won't buy anybody food, water, shelter when the climate collapses all around us. And so we're here to say to Chase Bank, stop your funding of the climate crisis. Stop fueling this thing with your money and your pipelines.
Yeah, I'm here because I'm desperate. I'm desperate for something to be done about climate breakdown. I mean, it's getting so bad, and I've tried to do so many things already, and nothing's worked. So this is a global day of action by a group called Scientists Rebelling. So there's 1,200 scientists in over 30 countries that are risking arrest through civil disobedience.
So they're all doing this all over the world right now?
They're doing this all over the world today, yeah. And
Okay.
it's following on the heels of the Working Group 3 IPCC report, which says that we're completely out of time. We got to stop increasing the fossil fuel industry and increasing emissions and start coming down right now. And it's not happening. World leaders are still arguing and still pushing to expand the fossil fuel industry, which is taking us exactly in the wrong direction. We need to go if we want to have a livable planet in the future. So that's why I'm
Clearly.
here.
Also,
I'm here
yeah,
for my kids too.
You're for your
because-
kids too.
Yeah, I'm terrified I'm terrified of even the next few years. Like the heat dome and what's happened in the last couple of years has been terrifying. It's going to get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, in
until
fact,
we
that was going to
end.
be my question. Even if we stop emitting carbon today, I think we're still facing devastating consequences, right? Like,
When we stop emitting CO2, as soon as we stop that, however hot it gets, that's basically how hot it stays. So every day we wait to stop it makes it a little bit worse. So that's why it's not about net zero by 2050. It's not, forget about 2 degrees Celsius or 1.5 degrees Celsius. What everyone needs to know is that every day we wait, it gets a little worse. That's all. It's as simple as that. So we got to stop it now. The faster we stop it, the more we save. The longer we wait, the more we lose.
and why Chase Bank?
Because Chase Bank funds the fossil fuel industry more than any other bank on the planet. And they got to stop it.
I'm sure CNN, MSNBC, everybody was there covering that, right?
No, I was literally the only person there covering it, and I actually had to illegally park to even get near the bank. They had so many cops there. It was insane. I have never, even like if they come out for an Antifa thing, I've never seen this many cops. So, yeah. So obviously threatening a bank, not even like threatening them with anything violent, just doing what they did was enough to just put off the four alarms, 4 sounding alarms, whatever, 5 alarms, whatever. What's the highest alarm? That alarm.
5-alarm fire.
5.
yeah.
There you go.
By the way, a lot of people in the chat are saying, Tina, you got balls of steel. The amount of treachery you run into, and asking how do you avoid depression. So maybe we'll do a talk therapy session next time.
That's a good question. I do talk to a therapist every now and then. I mean, I think everybody should do that, quite frankly.
Yeah, I do antidepressants and whiskey. That's helped me, but there's times that it lapses, and when I'm on the road, this stuff really makes you pretty heartsick and depressed. Before we move on, I want to show Mr. Manchin licking his wounds here that his, that his bill doesn't seem to be going through. Let's take a look at poor Joe.
I got to be honest with you, I've been around for a long time in state politics and federal politics. I've never seen stranger bedfellows than Bernie Sanders and the extreme liberal left siding up with the Republican leadership in the caucus. I've never seen this happen. So it's come to me, what I'm hearing is it's like a revenge politics. And basically revenge towards one person, me. And I'm thinking, this is not about me. This is about something that Bernie has never supported anything about permitting reforms.
Okay,
Yes.
wait. Can we just stop for a second and just have a moment to acknowledge that Manchin actually said reforms? He thinks what he's doing is a reform, and that is just batshit.
Right. And by the way, the megalomaniac sociopath that basically blocked the child tax credit, not basically, he's the reason,
He's the reason.
Poor children don't have the child tax credit anymore. blocked paid sick leave,
Right.
blocked universal pre-K. This guy who blocked all of it, and by reports, in many cases blocked things because he has thin skin and didn't like being criticized. He's crying about revenge politics.
Yeah. It's insane. I know. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. It's like he lives in another world entirely. And I knew he would blame Bernie. You just
Yeah.
knew that was coming. But you know, can I point out something? What Bernie said early on was correct. This has been like a giant bait and switch, right? Because the Inflation Reduction Act, this was like, everybody was touting it as it's the best climate change policy we've ever had passed, you know, giant blah, 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 blah. And now it's been switched. We see what's actually attached to it. And it's like, are you kidding me? You're not going to be lowering greenhouse emissions with this bill whatsoever. You're going to do the opposite by fast tracking all of these fossil fuel pipelines, projects, whatnot. You're going to be adding greenhouse emissions. That is just a fact.
Right. Absolutely. So, yeah, it's a mess. I'm glad this isn't going through, but that doesn't mean activists don't need to stay active because, trust me, in the cloak of darkness, late on a Friday or even on the weekend, there will be some backroom agreement to fast track the Mountain Valley Pipeline that doesn't even go through Congress. So stay active. Thanks for watching, and make sure to tune in to Status Coup's daily live stream Monday through Thursday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time and Fridays at 4 o'clock Eastern Time.